California in the shade this morning, making a video. I think this is an interesting idea. I've been working on it for a while, and I think I'm ready to complete. So these seats are out of a side-by-side, a Maverick, Can-Am Maverick X3. I'll go in a little bit about how I got these seats, but what I want to do is put these seats into my Jeep, which I think is going to be a great upgrade. And why it's going to be a great upgrade is because I'm going to end up with these nice 4-point harnesses that are not only 4-point harnesses, but they're retractable 4-point harnesses, which, you know, when you get off, it'll lock you up. But I can tell you that we've had experience with these harnesses in the Can-Ams, actually rolling over, both me and my wife, and these harnesses work great. Little background on how we got these. So the wife and I have a couple of these little Can-Am X3s. I'll move the camera and show you. Here's my new one, the big 72-inch, and you can see that it has in it the nice retractable belts and all that good stuff. Okay, so what you'll see is that I already have Can-Am X3 seats installed in the Jeep. They're down on the stock Jeep sliders. I put them in. You might notice that they're not really even, and they're not tilted back quite as much as I'd like them to be, and I'm going to fix that. These were what I'm going to call a set of mock-up seats. Now I could have used these permanently, I think, but I did get some new seats, so I'm going to put the new seats in. I used these. These were the old seats out of my wife's Can-Am X3, and the reason she got new seats is because she had the lap belts and we wanted to go to the retractable harnesses. So how did all that happen? We didn't like the stock lap belts that came in the Can-Am. We got on Craigslist. I found a guy who had a 4-seater, brand new, 2021, and he sold me 4 seats with the cool retractable belts because he bought upgraded seats for like 450 bucks. So I got 2 sets of these seats and all the belts. One set went in my wife's Can-Am. My new Can-Am already had them, and I had this extra set here. So I pulled the seats out of my wife's Can-Am and I mocked them up in the Jeep, drove it around for a little while, decided I liked it, and said, I'm going to finish this project up. So to finish this project up, I'm going to put the new seats in with the 4-point harnesses, which is going to be a cool upgrade. To facilitate that, about this guy. This is a rock hard product. So it bolts behind the seats. It's a little roll bar attachment. It's got 2 little clamps that C-clamp it. And it's designed, it's got this coming, when you buy it, it has this little thing to wrap them on. I didn't like that. So my friends and I worked and we cut out these little plates that match the bolt up and mounting pattern for the Can-Am X3 retractable harnesses, and we welded those onto this in the right position behind the seats, and I mocked it all up. And so today I'm going to put it all on, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's all in, and I got all my seats adjusted right. Fairly simple process, and I'll walk you through that. I want to note that while I'm doing this seat upgrade project, I went ahead and bought this. This is the Tuffy security box for under the driver's seat of a TJ and the mounting brackets, and I'm going to put that in. And that's because I want to legally be able to carry this new toy. Yes, I'm fortunate to have all the stuff I have. There's no doubt about that. So this is my new toy. There's going to be a future video on like what gun should you carry with your Jeep, and it's not going to be this gun. It'll probably be the gun that you decide you like. So that's a teaser for a future video. I got a couple things to do, so we will be chatting about that soon. Some of the cool things about this particular upgrade are that you can continue to use the stock slider. Some things that aren't really cool about it is because these are one-piece racing type seats, they don't fold forward, so you have to kind of find a way to get behind if you put stuff behind your seat like I do. The other side can still be flipped forward. It just doesn't come as far forward, and you can still get to stuff behind there, which is cool. Or if you my mechanisms are a little old and rusty because I've been using this Jeep for years. You won't have the ability to tilt them back and forth and adjust them, but you do have the ability to, you know, slide them forward and back like a normal Jeep seat. So I want it to be. I kind of like these seats. The other thing I like about these seats is that you can pop these rubber pieces out when you're going to wash your car, and you're essentially left. This one comes off as well. You actually can come in with a pressure washer, and if you've done like me and you've taken the carpet out, there's nothing to prevent you from, you know, pressure washing them. You're not gonna get your seats all wet. You don't want to have your speakers and stuff and your electronics on your dash, but it is nice to be able to get in there and clean that just piece of plastic out. So that's kind of cool. Maverick X3 seats are getting to be very plentiful, and they're out there all the time on the usual Facebook, Craigslist, and they're fairly cheap. I'm going to go ahead and pull these seats out. I'll show you kind of how you get to this seat bracket on the bottom next, and then we're going to start showing you how I drill and fit the new seats on to make it all work. Okay, so here's how you take the Jeep seats off and you put the new seats on. So essentially, this here is the bracket, and there's a bunch of bolts. You just go around. I think there's one here, here, two on the other side, and then I think there's a bolt that goes on this backside here and this backside here. And what'll happen is your whole seat will come off and it'll leave you the sliding mechanism. That isn't the best video.
So you want to take the whole seat off?
I'm making a video, Dad, so I'm talking to the camera.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
No, that's okay. So, so what I did was, as you look at it, underneath here, in the middle, right there's a nice hole. It's right, and it ends up lining up right in the middle of the seat. And I just drilled it hole through to the plastic. And you can see I put one of these round-headed bolts on it, and I popped them in. It's one of those ones that has a little square on it. I drilled a round hole and used a square file to kind of lock it in. And then to adjust the height, about how much tilt the seat has, is really, I put this spacer in here, and that spacer, you know, the more you lift it, the more it tilts forward, the more you shrink it. And so what I found is they're too far forward, so I'm going to find a different spacer that's maybe about half that, tilt it back a little bit. And then on the side of the seat, I just drilled a hole right here, which didn't bother anything, and it went through the plastic on the seat. And as you can see on this side, it comes through, and you have plastic. And then I wanted to have another bolt that kind of comes through and bolts it to the seat. So I'm going to use the hole for mounting the Can-Am seat, which are here and here, here and here, and little metal plates. I'm going to put some kind of fastener. I can't do this side because it lines up with all this sliding mechanism, but on this side it just goes into this piece of metal. So I'm going to end up drilling a hole, cutting a spacer, and then bolting it there, and then I'll have 1, 2, 3 bolts holding it on, and that big bolt in the back, and then you get the 4-point harnesses, and I think you're good to go. You got nice little spots here. This is where the stock seat belt holds on, and that'll be a good spot to mount the 4-point harness. And fortunately, because of manufacturing protocols, there's another matching set of holes right here and right here, so that's where the 4-point harnesses are going to attach. So it looks like it should be fairly easy. So I'm going to take this seat off, put a smaller piece in there as a spacer, and then pretty much put the new seat on there, get it adjusted in the same kind of position, and yeah, well, then these seats will be up and for sale for someone, because they end up being the extra seats I don't need. And I've got an extra set of actual it's a set of 4-point harnesses, but they're not the ratcheting ones. I'll show that at the end of the video. Went ahead and changed that puck in the back, and I've leaned that seat back a little more and sat in it. I really like the positioning. I think you can see from the angle here, that front seat is tilted back, you know, look at the little gap. And so I'm going to go ahead and adjust the other seat so it sits just exactly the same. I'll pull this one out, adjust them whether they're the same, and get them bolted down, and yeah, be good to go. All right, now we can see I've got the shiny new seat Dad's holding on to in the same way I did the other one. I've got this one with a nice big washer underneath and a spacer that tilts it back appropriately on the TJ. On the side where this lines up with the rail, I've got this bolt that basically goes straight through here and through the plastic and holds it in that way. You can see that it's bolted on over there. I had to drill a hole in the side here to get that to work. On this side, because the rail that it slides on is not in line with this, there's actually this nice metal down here. I went from the top and then cut a spacer out of a piece of aluminum, a squared aluminum or you round, and then bolted it straight down. So I've got this thing securely fastened. I used the stock seatbelt mounting point here, and I used that hole in grade 8 hardware over here to mount it, and I have my stuff on there, and I'm ready to put the seat in and put the stuff in. One of the important things you want to make sure is this is, if you do this right, you end up just enough room to pull that up and release your seat for forward and backwards, and that's great. So I think it's going to work for me. I'm going to put it in. I'll show you what I got. One side is done. I will tell you, that was quite the project. As you can see, I've got my roll bar support with the retractable harnesses there, and they are super cool, and they will lock up when you roll. Trust me, we know, as I said earlier, we've rolled with these. And I'm gonna hop in the Jeep real quick, give you a quick demonstration. So here's the setup. Getting into with these 4-point harnesses is a little different. I will tell you the retractable nature of these makes it a ton easier than the ones that aren't retractable. 6'4", 230. I like the way I fit. I like how I'm sitting in here. I actually raised the seat a little bit. Got my seat belts adjusted. Pop them in like normal belts. This is what I really love about them. Is I'm on the trail, you know. I will tell you, once you get off camera and you're leaning way hard, these are not going to release. That's just the way these retractable belts work. If you're on flat ground, you can look around, but it does give you some mobility when you're just sitting. I like that. Got my little gun drawer down here, or storage drawer right here at my feet. I like that. The key's going on my Jeep key. Couple of notes. These Can-Am seats are actually wider than the Jeep seats. I mean, you might have to do a tiny bit of, maybe an 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch of trimming on this corner right here to miss the roll bar going back. For me, with the 4-point harnesses, if you're going to go that route, and the roll bar from Rock Hard, this is as far back as I can get the seat. But it's super comfortable, good sight lines. I like it. If you go back farther, you need to trim it here. As you push the seat forward, I can trim something, but it does hit the center console as well. So when I'm coming forward, and I can go that far, the seat will go farther, but that's where it hits. So I may someday trim something up, but I don't have a lot of reason to push this seat way forward anyway. I am super stoked with these. They are very comfortable, feel much safer. Great little project. PM me if you have questions. Thanks.